Procrastination is one of those things that everyone struggles with, but very few people are willing to admit just how much it shapes their lives. Think about it for a second. How many times have you sat down with the intention of finishing something important, an assignment, a piece of work, even something small like cleaning your room, and within minutes you found yourself scrolling on your phone, checking random websites, or suddenly remembering that you absolutely need to reorganize your desk? That cycle of delay and distraction feels harmless in the moment, but over time it builds into frustration, missed opportunities, and that nagging sense of guilt that never really leaves. Today, I want to help you break that cycle, not by telling you to just do it, because we both know that advice doesn't work, but by showing you how to understand procrastination, how to outsmart it, and how to use practical tools like the 5-second rule to take back control of your time and your focus. So let's start with the truth. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. When you procrastinate, it's rarely because you literally don't have time. It's because your brain is trying to avoid discomfort. The discomfort of starting, the discomfort of not being perfect, the discomfort of facing the possibility of failure. Your brain is wired to protect you from pain, and in the moment, even opening a boring email can feel like pain. So your brain looks for the fastest relief, and that's usually distraction, your phone, a YouTube video, or anything that feels more pleasant than the task at hand. Understanding this is crucial, because once you realize procrastination is about emotions, you can stop blaming yourself for being lazy and start treating it as a problem you can actually solve. Now, one of the most powerful tools for beating procrastination is something called the 5-second rule, popularized by Mel Robbins. The idea is incredibly simple, and that's why it works. Here's how it goes. The moment you feel the impulse to act on something you know you should do, you count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you move. You don't wait, you don't debate, you just take the first step. The science behind this is fascinating. When you hesitate, your brain immediately starts looking for ways to protect you from discomfort. That means excuses, distractions, or a little voice saying, "Let's do it later." But if you interrupt that hesitation with a physical action within 5 seconds, you bypass that mental chatter and give yourself momentum. It doesn't matter if the step you take is tiny, opening the document, putting on your gym shoes, or writing the first sentence of an email. What matters is that you act before your brain has a chance to talk you out of it. You might be thinking, can something that simple really change the way I work? And the answer is yes, if you actually use it. Think about the number of times procrastination has stopped you right at the starting line. Maybe you planned to start studying, and then one thought led to another, and suddenly you were watching random videos for an hour. The 5-second rule interrupts that loop. It gives you a moment of choice, and in that choice lies your freedom. When you count down and launch into action, you're not just doing the task, you're training your brain to trust that you can handle discomfort. Over time, this builds confidence and discipline, and those qualities compound into massive change. But, of course, the 5-second rule is not the only technique we need to talk about. Procrastination often grows in the shadows of vague, overwhelming goals. If your to-do list says write a report, your brain doesn't know where to begin. It sees a mountain and wants to run away. That's why one of the best antidotes to procrastination is breaking tasks down into ridiculously small steps. Don't tell yourself to write a report. Tell yourself to open the document and write one sentence. The magic is that, once you start, momentum carries you forward. Starting is the hardest part, but once you're in motion, it's much easier to keep going. Combine this with the 5-second rule and you have a powerful formula. Count down, take a tiny step, and let momentum do the rest. Another powerful strategy is to use the 2-minute rule, which complements the 5-second rule perfectly. The 2-minute rule says that if something takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. That email you've been putting off? 2 minutes. Putting your clothes in the laundry? 2 minutes. Replying to a message? 2 minutes. These tiny victories might seem insignificant, but they reduce mental clutter and give you a sense of progress. And progress is addictive. The more small wins you stack up, the more energy you build to tackle the bigger challenges. Now, let's address another aspect of procrastination that people rarely talk about: environment. You cannot expect yourself to focus in an environment designed for distraction. If your desk is piled high with clutter, if your phone is buzzing with notifications, if you're surrounded by noise, your willpower will not save you. Willpower is a limited resource. Instead, you need to design your environment to make focus the default. That might mean putting your phone in another room while you work. It might mean using website blockers. It might mean tidying your workspace before you start. The goal is to reduce the number of choices and temptations, so that when you apply the 5-second rule, there's nothing in your way. Something else that helps is reframing how you think about tasks. We procrastinate because we tell ourselves that the task is hard, boring, or endless. But what if you saw it as an experiment? Instead of saying, I have to finish this entire project, try saying, I'm going to see what I can get done in the next 25 minutes. This is the basis of the Pomodoro technique, where you work in focused sprints followed by short breaks. Your brain can handle 25 minutes of focus, and often once you get started, you find that the task isn't nearly as bad as you imagined. Again, the hardest part is the start, and that's where the 5-second rule comes in. I also want you to think about the identity you're building. Every time you procrastinate, you reinforce the identity of someone who delays. Every time you take action, even if it's small, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. Over weeks and months, those identities shape your self-image. If you want to stop procrastinating, stop thinking about finishing tasks, and start thinking about casting votes for the identity you want. Do you want to be someone who avoids discomfort? Or do you want to be someone who shows up and takes action? Each time you use the 5-second rule and move forward, you're casting a vote for the latter. Now, let's put this all together into a system you can start using today. The next time you feel the urge to procrastinate, pause. Acknowledge the feeling. Don't fight it or shame yourself. Then count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do something small. Open the file, write the first sentence. Set the timer for 25 minutes. Remove the distractions from your space. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't need to feel ready. Action comes first. Motivation follows. And with every small action, you'll feel the weight of procrastination lift off your shoulders. Imagine how your life would look if you stopped delaying. Imagine how much progress you could make in a week, a month, a year. The projects you could finish, the skills you could build, the confidence you could develop. Procrastination robs you of that future. But the good news is that the solution is in your hands. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. All you need is 5 seconds of courage to push yourself to act. So, here's my challenge for you. After you finish this video, don't just go back to scrolling. Pick one thing you've been putting off. Count down from 5, and then take the very first step. Send the message. Open the notebook. Clear the space. Do it now, not later. Because later is the language of procrastination, and now is the language of progress. Remember, you don't need to conquer procrastination overnight. You just need to win the next 5 seconds. And then the next. And then the next. That's how change happens. Not in giant leaps, but in small, consistent actions that add up to a completely different life. So the next time you catch yourself hesitating, remember this. 5 seconds is all it takes to choose action over avoidance. And that choice can transform everything.